G'day tubes, welcome to Bill's question and answer number 19. Holy jumping, I can't believe we're into number 19 already. That's awesome. So I don't have a whole pile of questions today, but there's a few here that have come in. And if you got any question for me, send it to billqa@yahoo.com. It's in the description and all that stuff there too. So, okay, our first one is from January 11th, I believe it is. It says, "Hi Bill, this is Bruce Jacobs from Minnesota. What's with the chipmunk in the starting of your videos?" Okay, the chipmunk, that was like when the beatboxing thing was real popular and stuff, and I don't know, I didn't make that video, I just got it from somewhere else and used it and put my name on the end of it because I thought it was kind of cool. Because chipmunks, I had one kind of trained in the back of the cemetery here, and there's one title I did, and he jumps like 4 feet almost, not quite 4 feet, but 3.5 feet off the ground up onto my hand for a peanut. I'll have to put that in I'll put it in here. And that was that title. So that one I made, and then there was one actually I remixed that beatbox music to. When I was building the shed, he had jumped up on the edge of the shed there, and I'm like, "Come on, buddy, do it!" And he did it, and he did like the thing where he's like, you know, cleaning himself, and then at the end, I'll show you that one here too. This one. Come on, buddy. There you go. So that was that title. So that one I made. I'm like, I don't know, chipmunks are very, very smart, intelligent animals. Like for the pea size, probably smaller than a pea size brain they've likely got. They're really smart, like really smart. And you can actually tame them pretty good. So that's where all that's come from anyways. So yeah. Sorry I got my heat on here today. It's like minus 12 or 13 outside Celsius. It's freezing cold, so I got the heat cranked up in here. And it's just barely keeping up, it seems. But anyways, next one here is January 13th from Evan, and he says, "What got you in the business of maintaining a graveyard and just being around tractors and the knowledge of welding and stuff? With thanks for answering. P.S. I've watched since 2011." Okay, so I got into the cemetery business from my father-in-law. He worked here for like 22 years. From about 1983-ish, 3-ish to 2003 when I started, and that's he lost his wife, so my wife's mom. She passed away in about 2001 or 2, I think it was. I can't really remember now. It was in and around there, and then I've been dating her since like 2000. Well, we were married in 2000 actually. Before that we were dating, I guess. I forgot that part too. Oops, sorry, dear. Anyways, we were married in 2000, and then. So her mom died in about 2001 and 2-ish and around there, and then he's like, you know, I've been out here helping him anyways and driving tractors, clearing snow. They had someone dig their graves back then. They came in, but you know, I'm driving the tractor and stuff. And he basically said to me, "Do you want this job?" I'm pretty well had enough of it. I'm like, oh, okay. He was really depressed, I think, after losing his wife. So I applied for the job. I still had to apply for it, even though I was here pretty much all the time. I still worked at the rental and stuff, but weekends or whatever, or if I had a day off. "You got a funeral that day?" "Yeah, we got one." "Okay, I'll be there to help." So I'd come and help him, whatever. And he just basically kind of handed it over to me, although I still had to go through like the hiring process and all that and the interview and stuff. But and been like that ever since. So yeah, that's how I got into there. And just being around tractors for the knowledge of welding. So the knowledge of welding, actually, I started that in school, high school. I did a welding class. I think it was grade 9 class. And it was one of those split through the semester kind of thing. So there was like woodworking, there was welding, and then small engines. So I got kind of all three I enjoyed there. So if I was to choose first, I'd probably go with small engine stuff. Second to be welding, third to be woodworking, if I had to go in an order of favorite to least favorite kind of thing. But so most of that was from school, and then just trial and error and trying things and welding stuff and cutting. Once I got the plasma cutter though, that was like a night and day difference. You could do so much more with the plasma cutter. I love that thing, it's so awesome. So that's why I got the plasma cutter, because I could definitely do a lot more projects and stuff. So mind you, I haven't used it much lately, but because I haven't really needed anything or had to fix anything. Everything's good, so I don't have to cut anything apart to fix it yet. So if we do, I'll let you know. So yeah, thank you, sir, for sending that in. Hopefully that answers your question. Long time watcher, 2011, sweet. Next two are from Ethan here. Ethan sends me a lot of questions. That's good, that keeps the show going. Once we get no questions, I got no show. So this is a good one. When will you explore 100% of the map on Truck Sim? Oh boy, that's a lot more driving. I think I'm about 70, maybe almost 80%. That's a lot more driving though to get it all, because you might miss like one little spot in a turn, and then you got to find that on the map and then drive that whole way to get to it just to light that little spot up. So that's a good question. I don't know how I could answer it because I have no clue. If I worked at it and had nothing else to do, I could probably do it in a couple of days, but you know. Oh, the next one again, January 13th, from Ethan. The other one from Ethan. When will you shave your beard off and get a haircut? What's wrong with it? Did you want me to look more like this guy? I don't know, this is pretty warm. On these nice cold days, it's nice and warm out there. You can just, you know, cuddle up to your beard. But yeah, you're right. It's getting to the point where I gotta kind of take her down a bit. And I was kind of thinking about it the last couple of days. I'm like, maybe soon, but I don't know. We'll see. Soon. But anyways, thank you for your question, sir. Next one is from Sean. Hey Bill, Sean from Michigan. Sure, missed the videos you made while digging graves. Yeah, I know, I can't do those anymore for you. Do you think the cemetery board will ever consider hiring a second guy to help you around the cemetery, even a part-time person? No, they likely never will, I don't think, because then they'd have to add that person on to like the workman's compensation, and I don't really think they want to do that, because you'd have to have someone that you would have to pretty much hire almost full-time. Otherwise they might get the idea that, you know, this person, he's only going to work here for a while and then go sick and then get compensation from it, right? So that, because you have to have someone working in a business like this, especially outside cutting grass and dangerous stuff, on the workman's compensation thing. And so if they do get hurt, then they're compensated for their work from the workman's compensation, right? So you can't just kind of hire someone and say, oh no, we're not putting you on the comp here. So, but it's hard to get someone that would want to do the work, that can do the work and do the time to be here for the time, and you know, be truthful with it, right? So it's hard to find someone like that around here. So probably not. I'm gonna have to work myself right to the friggin' bone until there's nothing left, and then I gotta dig myself a grave. Honestly, that's probably what's gonna happen. So anyways, I love watching whatever your videos you put out. Well, thank you, sir, for sending that in. All right, the next one here is from Chris Moore. It says, hey, it's Chris again from Illinois. I have an Echo PB230LN, and I've rebuilt the carb and cleaned it out good, and it still won't run. It will start on fluid, but as soon as I take the choke off, it dies. There's no low speed adjustment on it. Oh, I hate those carburetors that you can't adjust them. Don't you hate them? Oh, because that means that there's more passageways inside of that carburetor that are so incredibly small. You're gonna have to probably, I don't know, those ones are so small. I mean, I got my wire set here for my welding torches, and they're pretty small, but a lot of those are so small those won't even fit. Those little passageways in those carburetors. I hate those little carburetors. They're terrible. They're just a terrible design, all of them. I mean, they work good when they're working good, but then when you got problems, it's a freaking nightmare, and I know all about it because I've been through a lot of them. So, says I have an attached of a picture of the carb. Do you have any suggestions? I use it year-round for blowing snow too, since we don't get much. Okay, so there. Let's see here. I messed it up. That's a picture of the primer bulb there, I guess. I don't know if you can see that, the primer side of it. And that's a picture of the carburetor. Now you're 100% sure that you put her back together right. Because sometimes, I know, you can put the diaphragm in the wrong way, or you put it, you know, the one thicker piece and then the diaphragm's got to go on top. And then the gasket part's underneath, so it gives it a bit of room there to actually pump. And it's got to be on the right way too. It can't be, you know, flipped the wrong way. So that's a major thing there. If it's starting and running on fluid, how is the compression in it? I don't know that machine, an Echo. I never owned an Echo. A lot of them only put, I think, 2 compression rings in it. If you've got potentially one that's kind of stuck or got some carbon goop on it, and there's only one compression ring that's technically working, it will not run very well, if at all. You've got to have really good compression in any of those little 2 strokes, like this guy here. Hang on. This little John Deere saw we did not too long ago. It's got like really good compression, right? Now, if I happen to, I don't know how many rings are in that one. I know the Stihl chainsaws, I believe, have 3. This probably only has 2. It's hard to say, but that's definitely a major thing there. You got to make sure your compression is where it's supposed to be. And if that's all right, oh geez, I just lost the emails. If that's all right, boy, I'd say there's something else going on. Like, there's still something, believe it or not, probably in that carburetor or from the tank. There's a filter in the tank too, and it goes through into the carburetor, of course. Now that one potentially, like this saw, might have an impulse line too. If you got a leaky impulse line, that's basically the same thing as having, in a sense, having no compression, because it's the impulse line that's going to pump fuel to the diaphragm in there, which pumps it through the carburetor system and then, you know, into the motor kind of thing, right? You got to make sure you got no air leaks too. If you got an air leak somewhere, it's going to make a heck of a lot of a headache for you. So there's so many different things that rely on each other on these things running right. And boy, I don't know where to start. Check your lines, I guess. Make sure that little filter tank is clean, or a new one. If you put a new one on, put a new one on. Make sure the line's got no holes in it and it's not leaking gas anywhere. That's a bad thing too. Other than that, it's probably still something in that carburetor. You might have to grab yourself like a small ultrasonic cleaner or something and take it all apart again and run it through a real hot water soapy cycle of that. And be very careful though, if you clean it out with some air after, just go real gentle. Don't just psh, because there is some little passages in some of these that have like a little cellophane. You can't even hardly see them. A little cellophane, it's like a seal kind of thing. If you blow air through that and blow a hole through it, you throw that carburetor in the garbage. The only other thing I can suggest too, if you don't want to tackle the carburetor again, buy a new one. You could probably get a new one from Echo fairly cheap. Depends on how much you know, how old it is usually and what model it was, but you could probably get one of those and then slap a new one on and it might fix the whole thing. It's hard to say, but a lot of factors there, a lot of factors. There's a lot of parts that, like I say, rely on each other, that one goes down and they all go down, right? So hopefully that helps you with that. It's hard for me to kind of diagnose that until I kind of had it in front of me and looked at it, right? So first thing I would do though is give it some pulls and make sure it's got fairly good compression. If you don't have a compression tester, They're fairly cheap too. You can maybe find one of those just to screw into the spark plug hole and give it some pulls. If it's like that one, it's hard to pull when you're pulling it slow. If it's like the spark plug's not in kind of thing and you're pulling it, but the plug is in, there's something definitely wrong with the engine. So anyways, thanks Chris for sending that in. Hopefully that helps. Next one is from James from January 25th. We're getting closer to today's. Hi Bill from Missouri. Love your videos. Keep up the good work. This is from James. Recently bought a 1951 Ford 9N for $1,600. It's all right. Did they make them in 51? I don't remember now. Anyways, I'm not a big fan of the seat. Any better seats for them? Oh man, I should have brought you up and I forgot it down at the other garage. The seat I'm doing for the 800 in here, they're basically all the same. That one's got it on there. Let's look at that picture. Hang on a sec here. Come with me. Let's look at the picture. So if you guys remember the seat that was on the 800, it was just a freaking nightmare, stupidest, terriblest thing on the planet. So I actually went over to the tractor dealer and I got a seat like this that mounts the same way, but it has the big wiener spring at the front, I'm gonna call it, with the seat on it, and then you sit there and it boing, boing, boing. I got one of those and re-sandblasted. I'm gonna go down and get it because now I want to bring it up and show you guys. But I redid the whole thing and I'm getting rid of that whole other contraption because it was just the stupidest thing on the planet, I think. Way too many wear out parts. I'll bring it up too and show you that. Just give me a sec, I'll grab that. Okay, so this is the one that was on it. And God, there was so many. You flip the seat like 10 times. I'm like, this is stupid. All these are wore out. This one's not bad here, but the other parts is all floppy. These are all wore out. This is all super floppy in here, you know, and it's supposed to sit up high, and then the rubbers back here, I think the rubbers were pretty much fine, but all these are all wore out. Well, look at the holes. They're like just, this thing was just junk. So these were really wore out in here. Like this thing was just so junk. Like, look at the, I don't know, there's too much mechanism in there. It's just ridiculous. So I went and got myself another spring from the tractor wrecker guy. Cleaned it all up. It was a little rusty, pitted, but it'll work. And that'll mount back on the tractor. And I kind of extended it a little bit so I get myself back a little more. And that's supposed to go back on the tractor at some point here. And I do have bolts ready for it too. That's what those are for. So that's the spring seat, kind of what they all sort of came with. These other ones are like a more deluxe seat, and yeah, they'd probably be nice, but I'm like, no, I don't need that. So hopefully I don't have it back too far and it's like woo woo really springy. But if I have to, I can move her up. I can move her up a little bit. It'll have to go up like a fair bit, but hopefully it'll be enough back there. That, or I get a little spring and mount it under here too, maybe, just to help a little bit. Another little spring, because that is quite a piece back and it might be too beefy. But that's the original seat off the 800. And I did the 2N up too while I had her down there. I did that one as well, and cleaned all that spring up and then put it back on. Same color, black. I had this bolt here, but I've got an actual seat cover for this too. It's up behind there, so that'll be good. But that's I don't know, go to a wreckers or something, somewhere that would have a bunch of stuff like that. This was just sitting at my wreckers guy there, and then I think I paid 20 bucks for the bracket itself. The seat I already had, so but sandblast it, prime it, and paint it, and a little messing around, and then should be all ready to go. But anyways, thank you, sir, for sending that question in, and hopefully you can find yourself a seat spring too. I'd like it if you could send me a picture of your tractor and that seat you've got on it now. I'd like to see what came on that one. So, but interestingly enough, sometimes going back to the old springs is the best way to do it. They're comfortable. You can sit on them all day and there's no problem. So anyways, thank you for sending that in. So the next one I got here is from the 27th of January. This is from Daryl from Wisconsin. A lot of people from Wisconsin, that's cool. I've been watching a long time from Farm Sim 13 days. My question is, do you use anything in your weed trimmers for storage or like winter, like stable? No, I generally don't. I just leave them kind of filled up and then maybe fire them up, which I need to do. Fire them up once a month and keep the fuel going through them, right? It's the fuel that'll sit in the carburetor and the lines that'll go bad. It just has to gum up a little bit and then it mucks up the whole system. So just kind of, you know, get her started and let her run. You can, if you want, dump the fuel out, run it until it runs dry. You might be all right. I've had problems with stuff drying out too like that though, where it gets really dry and then it doesn't kind of want to start again in the spring. To be perfectly honestly, but it's a real pain in the rear end. You're probably actually best to take the carburetor right off, take it right apart and blow it right dry, put it back together, maybe put some diaphragm in it or something, because the ethanol in this gas is just wrecking these diaphragms, dries them right out. And put it back together like it was brand new. Fuel it in the springtime, fire it up, away you go. That's a lot more work, but sometimes if you're going to store it all winter, it may be better to do that. I don't use stable or anything like that though. I do use still 2-stroke oil, and it actually seems to kind of preserve the stuff really not too bad. Within a year or so after that, you're probably going to have problems with anything. But anyways, I know I may be a little late but I was wondering if you used anything. So no, I don't. I have a still weed trimmer straight shaft in part because of you. I can say that I have not had any problems with it ever. They're good machines. I got one hanging up over by the heater there. I don't know if you can see it. And I got one under my counter here too. So on this one, I've never even used it over here. Let's have a look there. See, hanging there? Never ever used that one on grass. Started it up and let it run. And that one would probably fire up, but I'm not going to do a fire up video today. So, but anyways, thanks Daryl for sending that in. That's awesome. Generally just starting it up once a month. I find that seems to work the best. Okay, looks like we're at our last question today. This is from January 29th. At 1:53 a.m., what on earth are you doing up at that time of the morning? I know, I do the same thing. This is from Mike, and Mike didn't say, I don't think, where he's from, but anyways, that's okay. Bill, are you going to buy Farm Mechanic Simulator? I actually haven't heard about that yet. I'll have to check into that. It comes out 4th quarter 2021. Oh, so not for a while yet. I saw the reveal trailer on YouTube. It looks like it's going to be better than the one you had played. Keep on the 29 Cummings. Send email January 29th, 2021, by the way. So yeah, I've seen that. But yeah, I'll have to check that out. I don't know. But if it's a good one, we'll get her and try her out. I like the other one. It was good. The tractor, fixing the tractors. I like that locomotive one too. That got kind of repetitive, but it was pretty good. But anyways, that's it for questions and answers today. So thanks again for watching. If you got a question for me, I'll give you an answer, hopefully. Send it to billqa@yahoo.com. And, oh, the heater's finally shutting off. And we'll get to her. So anyways, thanks again for watching. We'll catch you later, and you guys have a good day.